I'm legally insane, and right here are a bunch of Nintendo NES games that I recently picked up. Just so happens, last night I went downtown yet again. Downtown to 69 Ave and Bangerville Street. That's where your mother is, and that's where I picked up these bangers. I get all my retro games downtown. Most of them from your mother. Friday nights. I know where to find her. Oh yeah. she's easy to find, buddy. You don't need to look very hard. Oh yeah. And I got a lot of great games. We're going to be going through all of these games. I'm going to tell you what I got, what I paid, and more importantly, why you might also want to pick up some of these games. And there's at least one game in here. There usually is. There's at least one game in here that I'm telling you right now that you either didn't know existed or you didn't know it was actually quite good. Because guess what? There's a game in here that I forgot existed. And I'm the king of the retro games. And I forgot it existed. And before I forget, we're drinking us some Macho Man Randy Savage Battletoads G Fuel. It's 3 a.m. and this is what I'm doing. It's a work night. I gotta be up in the morning. Did I mention I'm legally insane? And did I mention that I'm trying to collect over 9,000 retro video games? I got NES behind me, Super Nintendo. That's my favorite console, by the way. Yeah, so we're drinking us some Battletoads G Fuel. I don't drink any other kind of G Fuel. If it's not Battletoads G Fuel, I'm not interested. Get your G Fuel out of here. I don't want no, I don't know, what flavors do they got? Cotton candy. Ooh, cotton candy. You're drinking cotton candy G Fuel? Get out of here. The real men drink Battletoads G Fuel. In fact, I wish I bought more because they don't make it anymore. So once I run out, I'm screwed. First up, we got a heavy hitter that's been 30 years in the making. I've been wanting this game for 30 years. I told myself just recently, well, for 30 years, I told myself, or more, 35 years, who knows. I told myself that I wasn't going to collect these games. And here I am. That's right. I am now collecting the entire Mega Man NES set. I'm going, except for number one. Number one sucks. We're going 2 to 6, guys. 2 to 6. And I've got myself Mega Man 2. It's been a long time. I've been trying to convince myself for years that I don't need to collect the Mega Man games. I've had fond memories of the Mega Man games. I love the Mega Man games. But now I know why so many people collect the Mega Man games. Especially the NES games, which are the best Mega Man games. And the reason is because once you collect one, you have to get them all. It just spreads. Because I started with Mega Man 3, and I said, you know, I'm good with that. I only need Mega Man 3, maybe Mega Man 2. Maybe. Because Mega Man 3's got Proto Man. Mega Man 3 added some serious story and some serious plot. It's got the Proto Man theme song. I'm good with that. Great game. But then an opportunity came up to purchase Mega Man 2, and I couldn't resist. It's in pretty good condition, label-wise. Back of the cart is good. Very trustworthy seller that I got this from. And I paid 28 bucks, Canadian dollars. Not a bad deal. Not super great. Not a blow your balls off great deal. But not a bad deal. I'll pay 20 bucks any day of the week. So this particular Mega Man came out in 1988. So I would have been 3 years old. And I was probably playing Mega Man games starting as early as 4 years old, I bet. 4 or 5. 5 at the latest, for sure. 5 at the latest. And what a lot of people don't know about Mega Man franchise in general is that the very first Mega Man game, not only was it not too great, to be honest, Like everyone knows it's playable. It's not a terrible game, but it's really not a great game. That game didn't sell very well. Capcom had no interest in continuing the Mega Man franchise after that. It was actually a love project that the development team was creating as a side of their desk project. Because while Capcom had them working on other main projects, they would work on this other game in their spare time. So they were ready to chop this franchise out, but when Mega Man 2 came along, they perfected the formula. So they improved on every single aspect of the game and created a monster hit. This, to this very day, is the best-selling Mega Man game of all time. Over 1.5 million copies sold. And it's also still talked about to this very day. It's probably the most talked about Mega Man game of all time as well. Some people are out there saying, oh, Mega Man 3 is better, Mega Man 4 is better, Mega Man 5 is better, Mega Man 6 is better. You know, you hear 3 and 4 thrown around. I think 4 is a pretty common one to be thrown around. I love Mega Man 4. And it has my favorite stage in it. I always forget what it's called. It's got a frog guy maybe? It's the stage where the beginning of the stage, it's raining. Me and my buddy used to play that all the time. It was our favorite stage. And we couldn't even beat it. But we would just keep playing it because, you know, you're a kid and you love the design of the level itself. It was a great design. Another thing that Mega Man 2 brought out for the first time was the password system. So not only did they improve gameplay, they improved some quality of life enhancements as well. Password system. You could set a password. If you've completed stage 1, you don't need to do it again. You can get the password. Keep your power-ups. It's basically a save battery without having a save battery. Great concept for a game like this, especially from a rental perspective. Mega Man games made good rentals back in the day. A lot of kids didn't actually own any Mega Man games, myself included. I didn't own any. In fact, my friend that I played the Mega Man game at all the time, he didn't own it either. He just happened to rent it every week. He was one of those kids that would re-rent games so that no other kid could rent it out. He'd rent a game for 2 months, 3 months solid, maybe even 4 months. Good luck renting it, buddy. Roger's Video only had 1 copy. Yeah, that's why some of us kids never got to play a lot of these games, thanks to people like him. Yeah, oh yeah. I remember, I brought this up before, but Alien Trilogy for the PlayStation 1, that was a monster hit. I know it was a monster hit because at Roger's Video, I tried to rent that game for probably 2 years straight, and it was never in stock. Actually, I saw it once, and I turned it down, which I later regretted. I got something else, and I thought, oh, I'll get it next week. But it's finally back in stock. And then it never returned again. Never saw it in stock ever again. Never got to play Alien Trilogy for the PlayStation 1. The guy, oh yeah, and I know for a fact it was the same guy renting it because I asked the Rogers Video lady at the counter about that. And she straight up told me it's the same guy. He rents it every week. He wouldn't be renting it every week if it wasn't a good game. I can tell you that right now. So what else makes Mega Man 2 so good is the music. Has some of the best music ever made of all time. In fact, it has one of the most famous video game music compositions of all time. Dr. Wily's Castle or Dr. Wily's Fortress. Does that ring a bell? Because it should. It's one of the greatest masterpieces ever made to this very day. And next up, we've got... Ooh, this is a monster hit, guys. Everybody should know this game. This is a Taito game called Renegade. And I say everybody should know this game because I feel like I saw it everywhere. I feel like everybody had it. So if you had this game, leave a comment below. Is this like an oddball game that nobody had? and it was just the kids in my area? Or is this a very common game that everyone and their mother had? Renegade. So I paid $3 for this, and I'm very happy to pay it because this is an all-time classic. And if your name is Stanfield, thanks for the game, buddy. Got it from your mother. It's mine now. $3. So this is a beat-em-up game that came out in 1986. It was originally an arcade game, ported to the Nintendo Entertainment System. And this game doesn't get the credit it deserves. This is a masterpiece, a legendary title that's been forgotten, left into the shadows, commonly thrown into trash bins, commonly dismissed as nothing but garbage, spit on by your own mother, and sold to me for $3. But what people fail to understand is that Double Dragon was basically based on this game. So they took this game, they took the formula that they had started in this game and perfected it and created Double Dragon. And Double Dragon gets all the credit for bringing the beat-em-up genre to where it is today and bringing that genre to the mainstream, becoming one of the most popular genres of all time. But it started here with Renegade. And my memories with this game, by the way, are that it was difficult as hell. So people like to bash this game and say it sucks, it's garbage, it's hard as hell. Well, it is hard as hell. Unless you learn the tips and the tricks, it can get easier. And it takes a lot of practice. But we used to play this game almost as a joke, almost as a so bad it's good game. But yet we kept coming back to it. So obviously they had something good going. And it was so difficult. It was insane. And the other thing is it didn't have two-player co-op, simultaneous co-op. And had it had that, I think it would have been that much better. So for whatever reason, they didn't program that in. Huge mistake. It had alternating two-player. But that's what we would play. So the big joke was you're basically competing against your buddy to see who can get farther in the game because it's so difficult. And you're not cheering your buddy. It's not co-op. I'm not helping you. I'm not hoping that you beat the level. I'm looking to watch you get beat the hell up. I'm hoping to see the computer just absolutely destroy you because the computer can be cheap as hell in this game. And that's why you need to know the tips on how to beat it. There's no YouTube back then. I didn't know the tips on how to beat it back then. It was dang near impossible to beat. If you actually beat this game back then without having YouTube or some sort of cheat book, Nintendo Power or something telling you how to beat it, that is like almost unbelievable. I almost wouldn't even believe it. It's like a fairy tale. That doesn't happen. You never beat this game. Come on. Like, there's no way. No one's ever going to believe you. You could tell that story all you want. No one's going to believe you. They're going to think, yeah, sure, you beat it, but you were using a Game Genie. You're leaving that part out. Yeah, you know how many games I beat? And you're conveniently leaving out the part that you used the Game Genie. Yeah, very convenient there, buddy. So we would play this game, and it was a big joke. You know, you're just hoping that your buddy dies, you laugh, and then it's your turn, and you try to get farther than he got. Well, guess what? We played the game so much that my one friend that I would play this with, he actually got good at it. I don't think I ever made it. Okay, I might have beat the first boss. I might have made it to the second stage. I've got a vague memory on whether I actually made it to the second stage or if my buddy made it to the second stage for me and then gave me the controller so that I could finally play the second stage. There's only 4 stages. But you're never going to make it to the 4th. Because my buddy actually got so good at the game, he made it to the 3rd level. And I couldn't believe it. Like, we played this game so many times. He just kept improving. And I did not improve at the same level that he improved. I think I improved good enough that I could get to the second stage. He made it to that third stage and he was getting beat up by a bunch of women with purses. And I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I think he even made it to the boss in that same level. He never beat her for sure. I never seen the fourth level in my entire life. In fact, I don't think anyone's made it to the fourth level. Oh, one other thing that I didn't realize is that there's actually difficulty settings. At the beginning of the game, you can select your level, like 1, 2, 3, or 4, I think. And we didn't know what that meant back in the day, but apparently that means easy mode, normal, hard, and if it keeps going, it's probably hell mode. But so meaning I was playing on easy mode. And this game is brutal, guys, but it is awesome because there's so many moves you can do. So many moves that you can do. And it's some brutal hardcore combat. And you can be hitting enemies on both sides of you, kind of like some of those Double Dragon games, where you can be punching an enemy in front of you, kick the enemy behind you, and they're going to come at you from all angles. So it is serious business. When you knock an enemy down, you could punch them in the face while they're on the ground. You can do flying punches, maybe flying jump kicks. I know you can do jump kicks, A and B, do some Double Dragon jump kicks. A lot of the old Double Dragon moves are in this game that Double Dragon later reused or upgraded. Yeah, a lot of moves. You can have an enemy come up from behind you, grab you, but you're not taking any damage yet because another enemy is going to come at you and start beating you down while you get held. But while you get held, you can still use your feet, so you can still kick at the enemies in front of you. Like it's some serious business. Really fun combat. Check this one out. Great, cheap game. Very underrated. Very difficult, but I think it's so bad that it's actually great. Next up, we got a game that you didn't even know about. I'm telling you right now, you didn't know about this. Tom Sawyer. Did you know that this was a game? I don't think very many people know about this. And it gets dismissed a lot because the graphics suck. Visually, this game is ugly as sin. It's very hard to look at. It's that bad. It's that bad. It's very difficult. Very unpleasant on the eyes. And that's a little bit surprising considering this did come out in 1989. It is a side-scrolling action game. But it has some shoot-'em-up stages. 1.5 stages to be exact. The second stage is actually a vertical shoot-'em-up. You're on a raft. And so the whole gameplay switches. And I love that. In fact, that was my favorite level back then. Still is my favorite level. I played the hell out of that level as a kid. And it's also known to be possibly the hardest level. The boss, I guess, is one of the more difficult bosses, if not the most difficult. The bosses are very easy. The game is not overly hard when you master it. It will appear hard at first because your standard weapon is a lob shot with marbles. And it's hard to hit enemies. But once you get the hang of it, it's not as hard as it looks. But as a kid, I remember getting to the third stage. I remember fighting the third stage gorilla, the boss. I'm not sure if I ever beat him, though. I probably had enough. If I did beat him, I was probably on my last life, and I would have died fairly quick into that fourth level. And I also remember playing this game a lot and turning it off around the third level. Just like I'm not even dead yet, I just turn it off. Because my favorite level was the second level, the raft stage. So I would like to actually go back and beat this game one day. There are 6 stages, so I really haven't gotten that far. Me personally. I've only made it to stage 4 at best. My memory's a little foggy in that. There's not very many power-ups. It's, trying to compete with your Super Mario, but it's Nowhere near as good as Super Mario 2 or 3 or 1. You can get a heart that's basically the star in Mario. Makes you invincible, you can run into enemies. And you get a slingshot that has limited use. And that particular weapon's really good because you could finally fire straight for the first time. Check this one out. It's not an expensive game. Nobody wants it. Nobody talks about it. It might be the nostalgia talking, but I really don't think it's that bad. We got a monster, heavy hitter here, guys. One of the greatest games ever made to this very day. Super Tecmo Bowl. The greatest football game ever made. No game in history has ever even come close to this game. And to this day, the OGs will tell you, the OGs that know about this game, the OGs that have played this game, every single one of them will tell you this is the best football game ever made. Why is it the best football game ever made? And more importantly, why do they still make updated versions of this game every single year to this very day? That's right, you can buy repro homebrew games where they update the roster every single year. So if you're a big football fanatic, and the fact that they're making those and selling them tells you people are buying them because of how good this game is. They don't want your Madden 2022, Madden 2023. They don't want your Maddens anymore. Your fancy PS5 graphics. Ooh, look how real my players are. Buddy, every player looks the same in this game. 8-bit graphics, pixel art, tiny little screen. That's how it should be. That's a classic. That's real football, buddy. We don't want your realistic crap with over 10,000 different football plays. Now, we want some simple stuff. 8 to 12 plays is all we need, buddy. Keep it simple. So what's interesting about this game, it did come out in 1991, so by that time, they had obviously started perfecting the football formula. What's also interesting is that Tecmo wanted to create this arcade-style football. They didn't want it to be realistic. They wanted an arcade-style football game where the football players themselves, they have real-life players in this game. They wanted those players to be seen as superheroes. They wanted this cinematic superhero experience. And that is also why Bo Jackson in this game is 110% OP, and he is banned. If you come over to my house and you play this game and you pick the Raiders, you're banned from my house. I'll kick you out. Oh yeah, you're done. You get a permanent ban. You don't come over to my house and try to beat me in this game with Bo Jackson. That character is completely overpowered. The only person who's allowed to be Bo Jackson is me. Yeah, and if you come over to my house and I suggest that we play this and you don't know that Bo Jackson is completely overpowered, he's the fastest character in the game. No character can catch him, can even come close to catching him. I will pick him. If you are unaware of that, I'm picking the Raiders. I'm going to pick the Raiders and see if you say anything. And if you don't say anything, well, that's on you then. That's not my problem. Good luck, buddy. That's all I'm going to say. And you're probably not going to know that the game's rigged. You're going to think I'm really good at it. But I'm not good at it. I just happen to pick Bo Jackson. I got Bo Jackson on my team. It's that simple.
Bye-bye. See, Peter, he's too fast. You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B. I'm pressing B. He's too fast. Going over here? Going over here now? Never get tired.
Change your guy, Quagmire. Change your guy.
I'm trying. Peter's cheating. You're cheating, Peter.
I'm not cheating. I'm following the rules. I'm just really good.
You're not really good. You just got Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson also played professional baseball.
Shut up, Joe. Everybody knows that.
Kansas City. Royals.
Can't stop, won't stop. Bo, Mike, go. All the. Nope, going back the other way.
What? Are you going backwards? Just score.
I'm gonna run out the quarter.
I'm not playing now. My controller's down.
Seems like your controller's been down the whole time.
This is a cult classic to this day, and here's why this particular football game is so good. The buttons are simple. You got A, you got B. You got a pass button, and you got a tackle button. What more do you need? You just hit A, and you get a touchdown.
I just hit A and it worked.
That's the way it should be. My grandmother can play this game. In fact, my grandmother would probably beat you as long as she gives the ball to Bo Jackson. Next up, we have Shadowgate. One of the most interesting games and one of the most legendary cult classics on the entire NES console. This is a port of a PC game. This is a point-and-click adventure game / diathon. I call it a diathon because you are going to die. You are going to die over 1,000 different ways. And that's actually part of the fun. That's why, at least a good portion of why you're actually going to enjoy this game. And it's not a bad thing. When you die, they make it funny, they make it fun, and you learn things from dying. You're going to learn a lot of the puzzles through trial and error. In many cases, you will solve them strictly through trial and error. And you're going to learn where to go through trial and error, and where not to go through trial and error, and where to only go when you have certain items. And the game, now, I mean, there's ways to avoid just trial and error. You're not just going to be dying. You are going to be solving puzzles. You're going to be using your brain. Yeah, some of you don't have brains, I know. It's difficult for you. But, lucky for you, there's actually an in-game hint system. So, if you want to cheat your way through the game, you can use the in-game hint system. And the hints start off to the point where they're basically doing everything for you. But guess what? Later on in the game, the hint system's not going to help you anymore. So, it's not fully a cheat because you can only use it for so long. Yeah, this is a great game. The story, I don't remember the story, but you're entering a castle. You're going throughout this castle, and you're trying to find the wizard to I guess you're going to kill the wizard because he's trying to summon some demon behemoth that he's going to destroy the world. Something along those lines. It's been a long time since I played this one. And guess what? This game is so popular and was so good that they later remade the game for the PC back in 2015. And then guess what? They actually released this on the Nintendo Switch. It might even be on the PS4, PS5. And I was going to buy that version, to be honest. It's a limited run game. I was going to buy it. But you know what? I was comparing it to the NES graphics. Even though they changed the game, they added new puzzles, new items, updated the game. It's the same game, but it's been updated. But I looked at the graphics and I said, I don't like those new graphics with all those fancy colors. There's too much going on. I don't like that. Some people are like, oh, the graphics suck in this game. I could draw those graphics myself. Yeah, you probably could. But I don't know, go look at the Nintendo Switch version, and I'm telling you, I prefer the simplistic design of the NES version. It has color. The original computer game did not have color. They added color in the NES version. I'll take this any day. And so I was going to buy the other one for a lot of money, $80 probably. And I said, no, screw you. I'm buying the NES version. What did I pay for this? I paid $10. Steal of a deal. I will pay $10 any day of the week. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, when it comes to Tecmo Super Bowl, I got a steal of a deal. I am going to jail. If the guy that I bought this from reports me, it's over. FBI is coming right through that door. At any moment, I gotta sleep with one eye open. I paid $6 for this because the seller is a complete moron. Well, okay, not the seller. It's not his fault. The buyers are complete morons. People don't understand. There's a lot of football games. There's a lot of sports games in general out there that aren't cheap. They're very expensive. Same with racing games. This is one of those examples, something that you can find in the wild, where a pawn shop, a store, a garage sale, a Goodwill, misprices the game. The guy thought that this was regular Tecmo Bowl. He didn't know that there was a difference, or the other bidders didn't know there was a difference. They look at this and they think, oh, football game, worth $5 at best, and it sucks. They have no idea what they're looking at. Because guess what? This sells for $35 to $40 Canadian dollars on eBay all day. Just pick a day, and it's selling for $35 to $40. It's selling right now. Even Lukey Games has an eBay listing up right now for $38 Canadian with your $6 shipping. Yeah, you're paying $40 one way or another. You're paying taxes. You're going to be paying over $40. Yeah, this is not a cheap game. Okay, this is a very expensive game. $40. This is a football game for the NES. A sports game selling for $40. That ain't cheap. All right, back to some Shadowgate. This game is great because there's unlimited continues, and you can save the game as well. So although you're going to die 1,000 times, when you die, you will respawn back in the previous room. So it's a fun game. This is also a game that you can play with a buddy. Even though it's single player, it's fun to kind of figure things out. Hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you try taking this item over there? Oh, that dragon just killed us. Why don't you take that sword over there and let's see if we can go slay that dragon with the sword. Because you do get weapons in this game. There's no combat, but you do get weapons, and you just need the right weapon to sometimes slay the right monster, right? But if you don't have the right weapon for that particular monster in your inventory, or if you don't use that particular weapon, you won't be able to progress and the monster will kill you. And some of the deaths can be, quite gruesome. You can get eaten by sharks, for example. They've thought of a million different ways to kill you. And another way that you can die is you get locked in a dungeon, you get locked up, and you're forced to eat your own brain with a spoon until you finally eat enough of the brain that you die. You kill yourself. You just drop dead because you finally ate enough of the brain that you can no longer function. Okay, I made that last one up. That part's not in the game. At least not that I've experienced yet. Next up, we got Tetris. I paid $3. Oh, I forget if I actually said what I paid for this. It was $6. Yeah, so I paid $3 for Tetris. And you're probably thinking, why did you pay $3 for Tetris? Tetris on the NES was not the most popular Tetris. It was actually the Game Boy version that was the most popular. My mother had the Game Boy version, and she beat the Game Boy version. She played that game. She was hooked on that game, super addicted, and she actually beat it, and it turns out after you beat level 99, it just goes back to level 0. There's no actual ending. But I got this for $3 because it was a good deal. Because I'm going to bundle it with an NES. So I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to sell it. Even though it's a classic, I don't want the NES version. I don't want it. I'm not a fan. Because you know what? I already have the best NES version. I'll get it for you right now. Here it is right here. This is real Tetris. This is Tengen Tetris. The Soviet mind game. Legit, OG, original, gangbanger Tetris. This is 2-player co-op, buddy. You don't get 2-player co-op over here. And when I say 2-player co-op, I legitimately mean 2-player actual co-op. We're not talking head-to-head matches. I'm talking a giant Tetris screen. And you are both on a team, and you both have your own Tetris pieces coming down. And you have to coordinate. Because how you're planning to solve the giant Tetris puzzle might be a little different from what I have planned. So you kind of got to coordinate together. You got 2 puzzle brains going on, 2 separate brains. It's a great co-op experience. Or friendship ruiner. Could be either or, depending on what happens. You never know. That's what's great about co-op games. You might end up killing each other. You might end up in prison. I went to prison. Spent 6 years in prison. That sort of thing might happen. It happens every now and then. There's no shame in that. It means it was a good game. Very memorable experience. Doesn't matter if you beat your friend to death with the controller. Doesn't matter if you strangled him with the NES cord and he was screaming for mercy and just gargling up as he's struggling for those last breaths. Well, that's an experience he'll never forget. You don't mess with me in Tetris. Next up, we got Dr. Mario. This one's actually in good condition because guess what? In one of my previous videos, I had a piss poor condition one. I got screwed. The seller screwed me. I paid $3 for this one. I paid $3 for the previous one. And the previous one I sold on eBay, it was all chipped. It had missing pieces in the corner. The label was a little bit ruined. The front wasn't too bad though. And it worked. I sold it on eBay. I went for quick sale, $11.50. I still made a profit after shipping and fees. $11.50. Some lady bought it. I'm really good with my advertisements. I don't scam anyone. I said straight up, even in the main title, I said cosmetically flawed. And then in the description again, I described has a chip. I had pictures of everything. She didn't complain. So I assume that she read the listing. And the sale was a success. I mean, the game works. And I was the cheapest. The next cheapest Dr. Mario was going for like $15. And here I've got one for $11.50. I was looking for quick sale, and I thought it was a fair price considering the heavy damage with the chip, the corner missing, the plastic completely gone, completely chipped. So I thought that was a really good deal. A fair, very fair price. You know, maybe I could have got $12, but I decided that I wanted the faster sale. I wasn't going to go lower than $11.50 though. But this one here, I'm very likely to keep this copy, but if I want, I will bundle it with an NES. I have 2 NESs. I'm going to sell one. And I also paid $3 for Ninja Turtles because I'm also going to sell this. I already own this game. In fact, I probably got 2 copies of it. I'm going to sell it. I only paid $3. These types of games bundle really, really well with a console. If you want to sell a console on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, Kijiji, those are very popular games. And somebody will 110%. They're going to see these names, throw in a Mario 3, and you've got yourself a sale. Oh, by the way, I have a confession to make. I never beat the swimming stage in my entire life. I've never beaten it. I always had a friend beat it for me. I kid you not, I could never beat it. I know how to beat it now. Like I've seen enough YouTube videos that I now know how to beat it. And the secret is you got to switch your turtles out. I wasn't doing that before. I swear I don't think I was. I didn't know that you could change your turtle. But that's the secret, I think. I think I could do it now. It's not as hard as it looks based on, when I watch other people play. But back in the day and throughout my entire adult life, to this day, I've still never actually done it. Yeah. Even many years ago, as a fully grown adult, I had a friend of mine beat it for me. We just went through 11 NES games. I told you what I paid and why you might want to pick up those games too, guys. Every single game in here is a great game. Even Tom Sawyer, it's a good game. Just give it a chance. If you go into it thinking it's better than Super Mario 3, then yeah, you're going to have a bad time. But go into it, listen to the music, immerse yourself in the music, because I like the music. I think it's got good music. Immerse yourself in and just give it a go. And relax when you do it. Just relax. Take it easy. And recognize it for what it is. It's a work of art. And it's an underrated game. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I am trying to get to over 9,000 subscribers. On my way to collecting over 9,000 retro video games. In fact, I'm going to do you a favor right now. I'm going to show you something. This right here. Die Hard Arcade for the Sega Saturn. Take a look at that. You know what? Let's open it up. Let's open this up. This is in here for protection because this is Die Hard Arcade for the Sega Saturn.